Hello, hello, and welcome back to the 5 Foot Strong podcast. I am your host, Jessica Gerlock, and we are back today with another deep diving episode. Before I begin with what I want to speak about today, I just want to address some of the world events that are going on right now. My heart is with Minneapolis. My heart is with Free Iran. I think there is a lot of negativity and chaos in some sense in this world right now. And it's really important that we all take a time to focus on our mental health and a little check-in with ourselves. Just saying, how you doing today? It's important to be aware of what's going on in the triggers and what you can avoid and what you can help with in yourself. But try to stay as positive as possible. The world is kind of just, there's just a lot right now that I think we all need to take a moment to realize how grateful we are just to have even the basics. And again, I hope I hope we can all see a positive light at the end of the tunnel. I also want to thank Linda Fishman for last week's episode was sharing her story of moving on with tragedy and grief after her mom and sisters died in a plane crash. I think that takes a lot of strength, a lot of vulnerability, a lot of resilience to keep living and realizing there is a point to live. And that's a strength in itself. And it takes a lot of resilience, a lot of courage to live every day from such a tragedy. So there's this idea out there that if we want to change our lives, it has to be some big, grand, bold, all or nothing, new routine, new mindset, new everything kind of thing. And if we can't do it perfectly, we convince ourselves that it's just not worth doing at all. But the truth is that I've learned is through both training people personally and through my own fitness and mental health journey is that real change doesn't usually occur from just one like massive moment. It comes from those decisions we make every day when no one is watching. What workout we do we work out? What we eat? How we do we take a moment to journal? Do we take a moment to reflect? Do we take a moment to improve our mental health? All those kinds of things. 5 minutes of movement do we do? Making that one better choice, that one, you know, boundary held, that one promise kept to yourself. Sometimes they don't even feel like progress in a positive direction, but they are. Because strength isn't built in like the highlight reel, if you could say. It's built in the repetitions, it's built in the amount of times, it's built in the consistency. In the days when you don't show up, or if you show up imperfectly, but at least you show up, that's consistency. This episode I'm going to do is going to be a solo one, just you and me, because I think this is a conversation we all need to hear without any distractions. As I said, there's a lot going on in this world. So if you've been feeling stuck or if you've been feeling overwhelmed or like you're constantly restarting instead of moving forward. Today, we're going to talk about why the small steps matter. And we've talked about that before, but I really want to dig a little deeper into that. Why the actual consistency of doing something beats the motivation every single time, and how you can start making changes that actually last today by the decisions you make. No extreme pressure, no lifestyle overhaul, no unrealistic expectations, just real life, real strength, one small step at a time. This is your reminder today that you don't have to do everything, you just have to do something. So let's share, let's talk about some examples, real life examples that you can implement into your everyday life. Something small like walking 5 minutes, something small. Walking 5 minutes extra than you were, parking further than you were, drinking more water than you did before, maybe 5 minutes of stretching before bed. I say that all the time to clients, and then I ask them over and over, did you stretch? No. It's 5 minutes. Have right beside your bed. It doesn't take much, but stretching is really good for you. That's a healthy habit to have. Saying no to a draining commitment. That's a healthy habit. Choosing to rest instead of feeling guilty for resting. You don't need to have that all or nothing mindset. That balance, when I talk about try to achieve balance, that's what I mean. It's the all or nothing. And I've had that personal issue. It's like when I was eating a lot, I'd have to finish every single thing on the plate, or else I'd feel like if I left things, I'd feel guilty. That's not healthy. It's okay to leave food. It's okay to not eat the whole plate. It's okay to realize that you don't need, if you're not hungry, you don't need to eat. Like you you just don't need to feel guilty about it. That's an important thing. That's a internal challenge that you're going to have with yourself, is you don't need to feel guilty for prioritizing yourself. Some people think that going on a diet, it's it's crazy. It's like, wow, why would you do that? Why would you do that? But a diet these days to a lot of people isn't really a diet. It's really a healthy lifestyle. What? So you're not going to drink? Oh, you're going to be judged for that? Oh, well. Oh, you can't go out all the time on the weekends to party and to eat out every weekend because it's not good for your healthy lifestyle. You're going to be judged for that. But that's really, those are the kinds of things, those are boundaries, those are healthy boundaries, those are prioritizing yourself. When I talk about self reflection, I personally, to me, I'm old school. I use a paper and a book. I like a, not a book, but like a notepad. And I journal. Listen, if you want to use your phone, we all have our phones on us. Use the Notes app. But taking even that 5 minutes that I talked about, a small step in the right direction, and have a moment of mental reflection. How do you feel? Why do you feel that way? Is there something that was a trigger to you today? Why was that a trigger to you? What could you have done better today than you didn't? What can you improve for tomorrow? Because in the end of the day, we're only a competition with ourselves. And the best thing you can do is improve 1% over the next day. be a better version of yourself tomorrow than you are today. And keep doing that. Those are those small steps that we talk about. I journal even those cheesy, mindfulness quotes because I think it brings back to practicing gratitude, practicing mindfulness, practicing the sense of knowing, not worrying about the future and not worrying about the past, trying to bring back that being in the present moment. I think once you keep doing those positive thoughts over and over, it's repetition. We talked about that before. That repetition in our brains, it's it's kind of like it becomes a habit. That's at the end of the day, that those repetition of what I talked about, like strength, it's built in repetition. It's built up in the days that you show up imperfectly, but you at least show up. Something is better than nothing. It doesn't need to be the all or nothing. Small steps in the right direction as long as you're going in the right direction. But being self aware of what things trigger you, what things you're grateful for, what things you can improve on in your life, whether it be using a pen and paper, whether it be your notes app. I think it's a really healthy habit to try to be aware of your actions, be aware what makes you happy, what makes you sad, and try to lead with gratitude, lead with positivity, and look at the strengths in our lives rather than the negative aspects or the weaknesses. I want to challenge everybody this week. I want you, don't feel forced or anything, but I want you to choose one small, healthy habit. And I want you to commit to it for 7 days. Whether that's stopping eating at 8 o'clock, whether that's cutting down your snacking, whether that's adding some exercise into your week, whether that's adding some journaling, 5 minutes of journaling, whatever it may be. I don't want you to have makeup days. It's 7 days straight. And I want you to notice how it feels to keep a promise to yourself. Listen, I have worked out every day. I do my own thing. So this is for you. I want you to notice how you feel to commit to something that's going to improve yourself for 7 days. And I want you to be mindful of the feelings that you feel. Do you feel a sense of accomplishment? Do you feel disappointed in yourself? Do you feel motivated maybe to continue this healthy habit? But just choose one small habit and you can kind of go from there. When we talk about strength, it goes back to strength doesn't have to be a loud all or nothing. Strength isn't extreme. Strength is steady. Strength is showing up day after day after day for yourself. Strength is being consistent. Strength is the courage to do something even though you have a fear of it. The strength is to improve yourself and knowing where you can improve your lives, acknowledging your weaknesses and working on them, putting a set plan in place to improve your mental and physical health, whatever that may be, whether it may be a habit in the gym, whether it may be a physical habit, whether it may be a mental health habit such as journaling or a gratitude journal or 5 minutes of mindfulness or yoga or whatever it may be. That is strength. Strength is showing up for yourself. Strength is showing up for nobody else. Strength is trying to improve your life and inspire and motivate others to improve their lives. We want to all be as strong as we possibly can, and sometimes we don't notice our strengths. And that's a hard thing is we have to accept our weaknesses and we have to acknowledge our strengths. Some people it's really hard to acknowledge their strengths and some people it's really hard to accept their weaknesses. But until you do that, you can't move forward. And strength is all about moving forward, resilience, and what it takes in you to achieve that next goal, whatever it may be. If there's one thing I hope you take away from today, it's that strength doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing something, whatever that may be, and then choosing to do it over and over. You don't need to have a perfect plan. You don't need to wait until life slows down or motivation magically appears. You just need one small step that feels doable today. And as I said earlier in the episode, I gave you that challenge to choose the one small habit that can improve your life and see if you can commit to that. And being aware of after that 7 days, how do you feel? Acknowledging how you feel and maybe choosing something else to commit to for another 7 days. But that's a challenge for yourself. That's a challenge to improve yourself. And nobody can do it except you. And whether you win or you lose or you fail, it's all on you. So I only hope that you can learn and grow from whatever whatever you take from that challenge. You don't need to choose, everything. Break it down. We've talked about this many times is break down small steps, bigger goals into smaller steps and more achievable steps. Because those small steps, those quiet choices that you make every single day, the ones that maybe don't get applause, the ones that don't feel impressive in the moment, those are the ones that add up. They build trust with yourself. They create momentum. They change the way we see, the way you see what you're capable of. And if you fall off, as I said, it's not failure, it's what you learn, what you get from the experience, and that's being human. Strength is the idea of coming back without turning it into a punishment. So I want you all to go into the rest of your day and the rest of the week, and I want you to ask yourself that one simple question is what's the small step that I can take that moves me forward? Because we all don't want to stay in the same spot we were. We want to move forward. So what's that small step that you can take that makes you move forward? And I want to know that. Write it in the comments. Send me a DM. I'd love to hear what you guys are all improving on. I think that's awesome. Not the loudest step, not the hardest step, just the right next one for you. Because everybody is on a different path, and that's really important. And what's the right next step for you to improve yourself to make you move forward? Keep that in mind. That's where I want to kind of end this episode today. So I want to thank you all for spending this time with me. It's just you and me having an honest conversation about what real strength looks like. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. I think these are really important conversations that we're having. And if this could improve your life just 1%, then this podcast is worth it all. Remember, whether you're 5 feet tall like myself or 7 feet tall, we are all strong in our own unique and beautiful ways. Have a fabulous day and remember to stay strong.